First, let's start with this case.
Hi all, I need some third paw on this matter. For context, my partner and I have been dating for slightly under a year now, but recently we had the stupidest fight I've ever had in my entire dating life. My partner is a great cook and likes to cook for me. It helps that he is a non-picky eater and eats everything and anything. For me, yes, I admit I am picky, but I do give things a try before totally deem the food items as likable or So recently my partner made vegetable pancakes and included shiitake mushrooms in them. My partner knows that I absolutely hates it in any dish, but he loves it, so I don't mind if he puts it in, because when I eat it, I'll just pick it out. I even provided alternative mushroom options for him to include, though by my preference, I rather not have any mushrooms to be included. But as a compromise, and cause I love him, so I force myself to accept alternatives. We kept having these repeated fights where he mentions that when I pick things out of my food, it makes my appreciation for his cooking as conditional. Let me just highlight, I repeatedly thank him for cooking every time, hugs him, and even do the dishes sometimes. It also shows that I have no table manners, and I must be spoilt by parents while growing up, which makes me feel very frustrated and puzzled at the same time. I don't do this in public settings or during family meals, only when it's just the two of us. During group meals, I make a conscious effort to take a bite out of everything, and only take repeated ones at the one I like. He said that if he ever did what I did when he was a child, his parents would have scolded him and thrown him out, which to me sounded like a trauma response and him projecting onto me. I told him we're two consensual adults and I'm not stopping him from putting in the mushroom, but I just prefer not to eat it. I don't make him cook two different versions. I just force myself to eat it, or I'll pick them out when I can. He refuses to let me pick them out, and somewhat insists that I should follow him and be grateful that someone even bothers to cook for me. To which I feel that at this point, I feel borderline suffocated to have to pretend to like some ingredient in a dish when I really don't like it. So am I really the idiot? Is there a way around this? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. My husband is the opposite of a picky eater. The man will eat anything except mushrooms. Pineapple and ham pizza? Check. Anchovies on crackers? Check. Mushrooms not no, but hell no. So guess what I don't do? I don't cook things with mushrooms in it. I wouldn't ask him to eat mushrooms. I wouldn't make a main course that has mushrooms in it. I love beef stroganoff. Grilled mushrooms on a steak? Sign me up. But I can have those when he's not with me or order it when we go out. Why? Because it's not about whether or not he has manners. It's about taking into consideration the needs of a partner. Your partner is one step down from weaponized incompetence. He is deliberately sabotaging your food so that he can make a big deal out of it. Break up. This guy is manipulative and controlling. First it's food, next it will be sleep, your clothes, your friends. His reaction is completely unreasonable. You could easily turn it back on him. You've told him you don't like this. It's rude and insulting for him to keep feeding it to you. But don't do that. This guy could be dangerous. You're not in the wrong. Dude's got control issues, and seems to think it's acceptable to put you down simply because you don't like the same foods he likes. Might want to stop and take a look at whether he uses a similar approach in other areas in which he disagrees with you, because this is definitely not healthy. Next up, my uncle has had a long history of drug abuse, mostly with painkillers. He's been arrested at least a dozen times, that I know of, for related offenses. The last time he was arrested, back in November, he was let out on parole. One of the conditions being that he needs to pass regular drug tests. He actually did well for the first couple months, so I started to think that maybe this time got through to him, and he'd try to change for the better. Nope, about an hour ago, my mom walked into my room and asked me if I'd do my uncle a favor and piss in a cup so he can pass his test. I say no, because he got himself into this situation, and I don't think it's my responsibility to get him out of it. I think that's a justified response, so you can imagine my surprise when my mom acts like I'm a bad person for not bailing my uncle out, saying that I should do it because he's family. When that didn't work, she tried to bribe me by, get this, having him offer to change a tire on my car. Real tempting stuff. I still think I'm in the right, but I'd like a second opinion. Let's start judging. So, why can't your mom piss in a cup and give it to the uncle? Because, he's family. You're not in the wrong. You're not in the wrong. Since I'm pretty sure faking a drug test is at least a misdemeanor, and also judges get very, very mad when you do it. If your uncle cared about you like family, then would he be asking you to potentially get a giant fine and possibly jail time? And he's extra risking his own probation on top of all that. In the event you two get caught, it's better for it to just be, Uncle failed his drug test. Instead of, Uncle knew he would fail his drug test and roped in at least one other person to lie about it in an attempt to cheat. So now he's on the hook for drugs and cheating, and I'm in the cell next to him for helping him. Absolutely. You're not in the wrong, and your family is toxic for enabling this type of behavior. I grew up around this, and good for you on standing with your own integrity. Your mom is definitely an idiot for enabling your uncle and expecting you to contribute to his behavior. Just because someone is family does not mean they should subject you to their own decisions when they know it's wrong. Gross. Take care of yourself always. Next up, we like to do a few short trips during school holidays instead of a big vacation once a year. Sister-in-law and mother-in-law tagged along once on such a trip. 1 week, sunny destination, 2 hours flight. Sister-in-law is now pissed because we booked a new trip without her. According to her, she also needs a vacation, and we knew that. The problem is, going on vacation together was fun, but more difficult than when I go on vacation with just my wife and daughter, 3F. They do not take into account the fact that a child is on vacation with us. We arrange everything in terms of accommodation, activities, so that we as parents have a nice vacation, but it is also fun for our daughter. Some extra planning and a certain structure in advance makes for an easier vacation with a child. First sister-in-law tried to manipulate or guilt trip our daughter, don't know the right word, to be allowed to go on vacation with us. Why can't I go on holiday with you? Auntie would also like to fly again. Auntie thinks it's sad that she can't go with you, are just a few comments that I heard her say to our daughter. I explicitly told her that she shouldn't do that to a child, and that it is also very hurtful for us and her. Sister-in-law's next idea blew me away. She suggested to a 3-year-old to go on holiday with her and the grandmother, sister-in-law and mother-in-law, without us. Who tells or suggests something like that to a child? I hate being cornered like that. As parents, we have to disappoint our child because sister-in-law doesn't have the sense to keep her mouth shut. Those people are also not suited to go on holiday alone with a child because they only think of themselves. Last time, daughter was 2, they were already nagging about the following things. Didn't want to go to lunch at 12 because they weren't hungry. Didn't listen to the fact that daughter was hungry. Complaining because we didn't want to go to an evening market at 20 and we were already putting our daughter to bed. Didn't want to play in the pool because splashing water was too cold, etc. They claim that we as parents would then also have a week of rest. But I think the opposite would be true. We would be exhausted from the stress for a week and wouldn't sleep. I don't like that idea. My wife doesn't like that idea. But my sister-in-law and mother-in-law are making us feel guilty to do it anyway. I don't know what to say anymore. Am I in the wrong not to let our daughter go? Let's start judging. Tell sister-in-law to take her broom and fly anywhere she desires. You might also explain to her that you will keep your daughter away from anyone that insists on putting wild notions in her head, such as going without mom and dad. Your daughter can't completely communicate her wants and needs in a way to impress upon sister-in-law and mother-in-law what she expects from you. You know her meal times and nap and bedtimes. They have shown you they don't care. Tell them maybe when she turns 18, but not to bring it up with your daughter unless they want you to go no contact. You're not in the wrong. You're not in the wrong. We both feel our daughter is too young to go on vacation without us. Period. If they keep up, asked and answered, repeat as needed. Anyone, read that again, anyone who tells secrets to your child, who tries to put a wedge between you and your child, and/or who uses psychological abuse like guilt and shame on your child, should never have access to or a relationship with your child. They are not safe people for your child. Period. Next up, I, 23F, and my ex, 22M, have been broken up for just about 3 years now. For context now, we had a child together in our relationship, and we are both currently in new relationships. His new girlfriend is pregnant with his second child. Recently, I received a message from my ex asking for a stone-carved pregnant elephant that was gifted to me by his great-grandmother 5 years back. His grandmother sadly passed a year back, and he is currently asking for it back. I asked him firstly why he wanted it back, as it was a gift for me during my pregnancy. A bit more context. We visited his family and his grandmother had elephants everywhere in her home. I made a comment about how beautiful her collection was, as some of them were very unique. She lit up and insisted I take one as a welcome to the family present. I tried to politely tell her I would feel horrible to break up her collection, but she kept insisting. At this point, I didn't want to be rude and said okay, and walked around with her as she told me stories of how she got some of the elephants. Anyways, we stumble upon the stone-carved elephant with a carved-out tummy with a baby inside. She heavily implied that my choice should be that specific elephant as it fits the situation perfectly, me being pregnant and all at the time. I smiled and accepted and thanked her for letting me carry a part of her collection with me. She gave me a hug and accepted me into part of the family. My ex, who I guess got a bit jealous, wanted to pick out an elephant of his own, so he got to do so. Back to current day. He told me, due to the passing of his grandmother, he wanted to have the elephant to put with a gift he got with his great-grandfather so that they could both be together. When I asked him why he specifically wanted mine, he kept dodging the question and said it belonged to his grandmother, and it being a gift from her to me held no value. I reminded him that he got to choose his own that day. He dodged that too, calling me selfish and a lowlife. Part of me is more than willing to give it back to him, but part of me knows that he is going to gift this elephant to his new girlfriend because of her new pregnancy. I say this because I know his narcissistic and manipulative personality. Why would he ask me now and not a year ago upon her passing? Am I in the wrong? I looked at the price of the elephant online. It's made from jade and have seen some sold for $200, $400 online. Money might be his key factor in getting it back. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. That elephant was a gift to you to honor your pregnancy and a lovely family heirloom that can then be passed down to your child from their great-great-grandmother. One of two things. 1, he wants to give it to his new squeeze. 2, he found out it's actually worth money and wants to sell it. No is a complete sentence. Cut him off anytime elephant comes across in conversation. I realize you can't block him because you share a child. Good luck with that. If you think about it, that elephant would be something you can gift to your child to let him know he was loved before he was born. You're not in the wrong. You're not in the wrong. It was gifted to you when you became a part of the family. No matter what, with him moving on with his life, you will always be a part of that family in some capacity as his child's mother. I would say it was different if it was something for him, in a situation where it was the only thing of hers he would have. But even then, it wouldn't be something you had to do. Just a nice gesture.